As the Huskers get ready to go bowling, we have coaching changes, and it's time to introduce you to Nebraska's signees as we recap the early signing period. A new QB, a stack of new receivers, and some big-time defenders coming to Lincoln. We'll fill you in and preview the matchup against Boston College. It's all coming up next on Big Red Wrap-Up. Welcome to Big Red Wrap-Up on Nebraska Public Media. I'm here with former Husker Jay Moore and recruiting expert Sean Callahan. We've got some early news, though. ESPN's Pete Thamels reported that John Butler has been promoted to defensive coordinator, which, of course, obviously is big news. But it's kind of what you felt, right? Because you heard Coach Rule say he wants to keep the system the same.
Yes, I agree. In other places he's been, he's always kind of hired from within. Mm-hmm. And this hire was made kind of unexpectedly in the summer because of the departure of Evan Cooper. You thought this was a potential replacement for Tony White if and when he finally took that head coaching job that we thought. Yeah. Now, we didn't expect him to go take a job and go to Florida State, a more lateral move. But we thought, okay, the stars are kind of aligning here with it. And listen, I understand it. You want a guy, Coach Rule wants a guy that has a 3-3-5 experience. He has that here with Nebraska. So not surprised by this hire. And they need to get the hire out quickly because with recruiting, transfer portal stuff, guys want to know what kind of system they're going to be playing in.
Yeah, even the Bills ran a slight 3-3-5 as well, so but it's not a surprise, right?
No, and it's now official. Nebraska announced the hire about 30 minutes ago with John Butler. That is official. And look, I think if he would have been passed over here, he left the Bills because he was passed over. So I think if you're trying to keep the continuity, the defense was really not the problem. It was the strength of this team. You've got a good core, and now you bring in Phil Snow, who was the guy I think Matt Rule always wanted here from the get-go to be kind of with his defensive coordinator.
Yep. We have that to cover and more tonight. We want to hear from you, of course. We have the phone standing by. If you're ready to call, you can call. You can also text and email us your comments or questions to bigred@nebraskapublicmedia.org. We're also monitoring our social media accounts tonight as well. Send us your thoughts on the Big Red Wrap-Up Facebook page or X account, and we'll answer as many of the questions as we can. Time for our sideline survey. Last week we asked you, what bowl would you prefer to see Nebraska be in? Well, you want to go to Phoenix? You want to go to Nashville? Sorry, you're going to New York. Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl only got 9% of the vote, but that's where Nebraska is headed. This week's question: how do you see the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl turning out? Nebraska blowout of Boston College, close Husker win. Boston College blows out Nebraska, close Boston College win, overtime loss. Right now, 71% of the people say close Husker win. I think we all not all of us. Most of us feel that way. The biggest recruiting win yet, though, may be keeping Emmett Johnson out of the portal and bringing him back to Lincoln. Was this work of 1890? Was this NIL? How did that end up changing? He never really official went in the portal because it didn't start till Monday, but he did start the process.
It was two things. But Dana Holgorsen was the main piece. Dana Holgorsen was on the phone with him, I know, Sunday. And after a conversation Sunday, the decision was made he was going to stay, and then he made that announcement probably about an hour or two later. And, obviously 1890 is going to play a key piece. And look, Emmett Johnson was going to get paid NIL money no matter where he went. Right. And I think for Nebraska, he wanted to be here, and I think he felt comfortable now moving forward, and it was the trust. I mean, he was in a position last year where he felt like he should have been the starter this year, and he didn't start the year off as the starter. And I think this, I think he now feels a lot better about where he fits under Dana Holgorsen.
He's such a great all-purpose guy. You don't want to lose something like that.
No, absolutely not. He has the ability to catch out of the backfield. We've seen that numerous times. Put his foot in the ground, get vertical, but also step up in a third down situation and pick up blitz pickup. He did it numerous times, especially against the Iowa game. Had a couple good pickups. So he is a three-down back. So he is a guy that's a huge keep. And I get it. Some of these kids in this situation, you want to put your name out there just to kind of test the waters, see what maybe else you can get. But for Holgorsen to keep him here and keep him within this offense, heading obviously into the bowl game and into 2025, a very big win for them.
All right, let's jump into this recruiting class. TJ Lateef out of Orange County. I love the kid. I think he's got a quick release. Reminds me a little bit of C.J. Stroud when he was at Ohio State. Thoughts on bringing him in as the next quarterback?
Yeah, I think for Nebraska, it was a hard sell to get a quarterback initially because you have Dylan Raiola, and at that time you had Daniel Kalen. So to get another quality high school quarterback was not easy. TJ Lateef, a four-star, plays against some of the highest competition in the country, and obviously within California. So he's pressed and pushed at the highest level. And look,
Make every throw.
He's going to be walking into an opportune situation at Nebraska because of the quarterback room. Heinrich Haarberg is now playing tight end, and Daniel Kaelin has left the program.
Yep, no doubt. Let's jump into our running backs because one of the most decorated running backs in the entire country, Connor Booth, of course, we know what he did at Bishop Neumann, over almost 3,000 yards, 6,000 yards for his career. Do you think of him as a developmental back? The kid's got a big, tough, strong lower body.
Yeah, 2,900 plus yards rushing, was recently named the Nebraska Gatorade High School Player of the Year, which that was a tough award. There were a lot of accomplished people that could have got it, but he's proven. He's been a 2-year commit to Nebraska now, wanted to be here. He's going to try to play baseball as well. Where does he fit now? What will his freshman year look like? Obviously, he'll be here ready to roll, and he's been committed for a long time.
Reminds me a lot of Arian Foster, who I watched play in high school in Albuquerque. Same kind of lower body, very shifty guy. More speed, though. Jamarian Parker, this was a good get out of Cardinal Ritter, one of the best high schools in the country.
And give Keith Williams a lot of credit. Yep. St. Louis, with his connection, they got him on campus in the spring back in March. And I think that was pivotal to build that relationship. He had a really, really good season when you look at what he did. 1,564 yards, 18 touchdowns. Yeah. This past season in St. Louis. And look, with running backs, if they're good, they have a chance to play right away.
Yeah, and you want to bring these guys in because much talent as you can around your now sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, Nebraska needs to get more explosive in the offense. They've had little pieces here and there. They've had bigger bodies. Nebraska needs to get more explosive to guys that you get the ball in space and go do your thing, right? And that's the kind of the piece of missing. Barney kind of had that element to it. Emmett Johnson kind of brought that element to it, but you needed some guys that say, here you go, do your thing, make a couple guys miss, and go hit your head on the goalpost. Yeah,
and these two guys could easily be thunder and lightning as we go along. By the way, I like Joe McKnight for a comp for him. Let's get to wide receivers. Cortez Mills, good get for Nebraska, highest rated of the wide receivers.
No doubt, and to use an NFL analogy, you kind of have a draft budget, a draft class.
Yeah.
And this was probably your first round pick when you kind of look how Nebraska had to allocate how they went with their NIL. I mean, they went all in to flip Cortez Mills from Oklahoma, and that was not easy because Oklahoma was not going to let him go. But I think the key piece was Ja'Cory Barney and him are very close. Dylan Raiola was key in this, and obviously Nebraska had the NIL to make all this happen. But there is no doubt, if he stays healthy, he's a day one guy that will play immediately for the Huskers.
Watch him high point the ball. DJ Moore is my comp for him. I like him a lot. Isaiah Mosey, let's talk about the flip. Kansas City area. More athletic a little bit, more of a shiftier back playing inside. I like him as kind of a Steve Smith Sr. look because he's tough.
Yeah, he's an inside guy. He played running back a little bit, and his father, Jamar, came on staff at Nebraska. So kind of a 2-for-1 move here by Matt Rule to get his father on staff. Then you get his son, who's a 4-star. They flipped him, Michael, from Oregon. He was a longtime commit from Oregon, but now they're in Kansas City. Williams Nwaneri, the former 5-star that was at Missouri in the portal. Well, guess who he played for in high school? Jamar Mosey.
Right.
So watch that one closely.
Watch that one. Let's get to Jeremiah Jones because I put A.J. Brown for him, and I know that is an aggressive comp, but this kid is a big physical freak.
Yeah, this might be your second-round pick in the class.
Easily, yeah.
When you look at him, on 3, our ratings team is absolutely in love with Jeremiah Jones. They have him ranked as high as any of the recruits in the class, and with his size, and I mean, everyone was all in on Michael Terry. This is a similar type of guy that can play a lot of positions, and it was a battle. Missouri and a number of other teams were trying to flip him on signing day, and again, it took Nebraska's collective to kind of close the deal on him late. But with his athletic ability, I'm really intrigued what he can bring to the table.
Yeah, on 3, it's the #1 player in Kentucky and the 3rd best athlete in the group. Let's get to another great athlete, Jackson Carpenter, the little kid out of Southwest High. This is lazy, but Brandon Riley is who I comped him to.
Brandon was fast, but he's faster. I mean,
he's faster.
Jackson holds the school record at Lincoln Southwest in the 100. 10.5 guy, 38-inch vertical, highly explosive. His high school team did not win a lot his junior and senior year, so he wasn't really featured at the highest level, but I think if he was on a Millard South or a West Side, one of the top programs, he would really have dominated and put up huge numbers. But you look at him, he played 3 sports: football, basketball, was a great track athlete.
He ran 10.68 as a junior in the 100. Let's go to Tanner Teach, the last of the wide receivers. This is one of the best players out of Colorado Nebraska's bringing in.
It was kind of one of those years in Colorado where there wasn't a consensus number 1. Some people had him number 1 in the state, but yeah, he's a 10-8, 10-9 guy that had a really, really good year and was committed. And I think Nebraska wants to continue to go into Colorado and lock up the top players, at least get 1 or 2 every year.
Yeah, 10-9-3 and 100 as a senior. Reminds me of Luke McCaffrey once he got to Rice as a wide receiver. He's tough, go get the ball. What do you think of this wide receiver class?
It's really, really good. Obviously, get Mills. These guys are going to be coming in. A lot of guys are going to have opportunity to play. With losing Malachi Coleman, you have some seniors that are playing as well that are going to be leaving. You're going to have every opportunity to step foot on campus day one and contribute. You got to understand the play system, get in with Holgorsen, develop a relationship with Dylan Raiola, and it's going to be right there for the taking. And if you can make plays and you can be explosive, you understand, and you work hard, it's going to be right there for the taking for him.
All right, let's go to the key for any team, and offense especially, is the offensive line. And we start with Juju Marks, who is almost an identical look to Micah Mazuka. He looks same number, looks just like him as well out of Olathe, Kansas.
It's funny, on his recruiting visit, he was standing and talking to Micah Mazuka on the sidelines.
Yeah.
But he was a late flip for Nebraska, Juju Marks. He was committed to Kansas, and Nebraska came in. Look, they need tackle bodies on this roster, and I think Juju Marks out of Kansas City gives them a great body and another Kansas City prospect where they're going to continue to push.
The next one is Sean Hammerbeck, who's really interesting because this is a guy who played tight end, played some defensive end, a little bit like the way J.J. Watt did when he got to Wisconsin. Let's talk a little bit about what he brings to this offensive line.
Yeah, number 1 player in South Dakota, unanimous in terms of the rankings on that end. And I think for Nebraska, it's important to always try to go up to South Dakota. They've had great success in South Dakota over the decades where, generally if you get that top player, they've gone on to be really good players in the program. Guys like Nathan Gary and and Matt Farniak and some of the players in recent years. And, I think Hammerback is somebody that really fits that mold that can play here right away.
Yeah, and he's, you look at him already, he's already big enough to play offensive line. He's just going to get bigger. I can certainly see him as a tackle. Is it Kahina Torres? Kahana? No part at the end there. Let's talk about him coming in out of Hawaii, a place that obviously Nebraska loves to recruit, loves to get those Polynesians.
And look at that high school, St. Louis High School, the home of Dominic Raiola.
Yeah.
So connection obviously to the Raiola family, and one of the top players in Hawaii. For Nebraska, they've really created a pipeline. Preston Taumua a year ago was from there, and then you have Kahana Torres this year. So 2 years in a row now, they've been able to go in to Hawaii and land 2 of the better offensive linemen.
A little bit of a lumbering guy, a little bit like Javario Burks, who reminds me of a little bit. What do you think of this offensive line group?
Really good. You have some, opportunities, right? You have some with Benhart leaving, Turner Corcoran having the injuries. Some young guys have had to step up, and the young guys stepped up big time this year. You want to talk about Evans, Gatula, Latovsky. You're going to have some opportunities again. Some young guys that I brought in last year that were more development. It's going to be an excellent opportunity for these guys to step up. And if you commit to the nutrition, weight room, and you understand everything, the opportunity is right there to step in and play day one.
Move over to defense. I actually think this position is the best of the positions they've recruited based off of the guys they have in here. We start off with Dawson Merritt, and I know it's the number and the way he stands, but he looks like Randy Gregory. Come on. He looks just like Randy Gregory.
For Nebraska late, this was another flip from Alabama, and they worked hard to get Dawson Merritt in this class. Alabama had him, committed in the spring, and he had visited Nebraska multiple times. You knew he wanted to be here. But it just, at the time, in his heart of hearts, he thought Alabama made more sense. But as the process moved on, Nebraska was able to flip him and get him on board. And his father works for the Kansas City Chiefs, so a very football-savvy family.
This next one is really interesting out of Galveston, Texas. Malcolm Simpson, right now, more like 6'3", 265 according to Nebraska's numbers on him. Where do you see him fitting? What do you see him growing into if they stay in a 3-3-5?
Well, he's a basketball player, too, so he can run, he can move.
Yeah.
He's somebody that has elite upside when you look at his body and his frame and the way he moves and the year that he had.
Yeah.
I think he's probably a defensive end type, that can play on the line in the 3-3-5. But how will his body grow once he stops playing basketball? I mean, I believe this summer, he's going to play. He plays AAU basketball. He's played the AAU basketball for his whole life. So once he concentrates just on football, what will that look like?
And I apologize for this. A bigger Von Miller. I know he's a Hall of Famer, but still. And then I leave this one up to Sean because Sean knows how to say this D lineman out of North Dakota's name very well.
I was on a Fargo TV station. I got verification. It's Pedshock.
Pedshock.
If you can get that out of that, let me know.
Got it, sure. Easy.
But I think for Jay Moore, this is a Jay Moore comp here.
Yeah.
Cade Pedshock is an animal. At West Fargo, had a humongous year, was without a doubt the #1 player in North Dakota.
I think he grows into, though, more of a Baker Stein cooler. This kid's going to be 280, 290.
He's one of the best guys in the class.
You can see that body type where he adds 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And he's still be able to move really well. He's going to be a 3 technique inside, more of a Ty Robinson type of role.
Exactly.
Instead of I'd say Simpson is more of a Jamari Butler type of role
definitely.
within this 3-3-5. So yeah, he can add some weight and still be athletic.
And then, of course, out of Omaha North, Tyson Terry, who you hope develops into the next polar bear. I know that's what a lot of people think about him on the defensive side. He was an offensive line as well. What do you think of Tyson
And look,
Terry?
they're the same size
Yep.
in high school. You think, Nash is, no.
6'3", 305.
Nash had to be 285 because he wrestled 285.
Yep,
Well, guess what? Tyson Terry's a 285 guy. He wrestles that. He's going for his 4th title. You won't find too many kids tougher than Tyson Terry.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a true North Omaha family, and they just bleed toughness when you're around the Terrys and get to know them. Yeah. And, I've known the brothers and his father, and Tyson is cut out of that same cloth.
First freshman to win the heavyweight as a freshman in Class A ever. Tells you what he is as a wrestler. What do you think about overall this defensive line and this class?
I see a lot of tremendous upside. I see guys who can come in here, and again, with the departures of Ty Nash, Keona Davis, Jamari Butler, I know Princewell as well. I'm not going to try to Umanyalan, butcher his last name. There's, again, opportunity. Again, you got to come in with the right mentality, and opportunities are there if you want to fully understand the system. In the 3-3-5, it's going to be interesting to see putting these younger guys in these scenarios because there's so many positions you play. You can play a 5 technique, a 3 technique. So it's hard to fully grasp all that. But if you're willing to learn and get better, it's going to be there for the taking.
I said D-line. What do you think is the strongest of the positions in terms of recruiting?
I mean, wide receiver with the Mills,
Yeah.
And the late stuff that they got done there. I think you'd have to make a case for wide receiver, but defensive line as well. I mean, those are, to me, the two that jump out and what they're going to be able to get.
I think what Sean said about T.J. Lateef coming in here, you have to have the right attitude. You know that you're probably sitting for 2 years. But if you do everything right, you could be the starter when Dylan leaves.
Absolutely. You look at that because Dylan's here for at least 2 more years.
Yep.
You do have to have the right mentality, and I think that's been preached to him since day one. It's like, hey, you're not going to, unless something happens to Dylan, knock on wood, that you're going to have to sit and you're going to learn. But sometimes that's okay for kids, but that's a hard thing to understand and grasp. But like you said, Michael, you have to have the attitude and understanding that I'm not going to come in here. But it can be good too because you don't have the pressure put on you. You can learn, you can develop, you can sit in meetings and learn from Holgorsen and learn from Dylan and grasp everything and really develop the mental aspect of it too, and not be put right onto the limelight like Dylan was so early, and just kind of sit back and say, I'm just going to learn, I'm going to develop, and when my time is called, I'm going to be ready.
One of the sneaky reasons why Nebraska became what Nebraska did in the early 90s were those local recruiting classes, especially in Omaha. You got some good players come out of Omaha this year.
Yeah, when you look at this class of talent in the Omaha and Lincoln area, but particularly Omaha, it's as deep as you're going to see in terms of the number of guys that signed with Power 4 schools. And Nebraska got almost all of them. Obviously, Lofton went to Florida State, and then they lost one to Stanford in there. But I think to do what they did, it's not easy. I mean, you look at other states around the country to lock all your local talent down. Iowa has a hard time doing it in Iowa, and Kansas obviously can't do it in Kansas.
Colorado can't do it for
Colorado
sure.
doesn't take anybody.
Yeah.
But I think for what Nebraska did, especially the last 2 years in state, it is not easy to do, and give Matt Rule and his staff credit. They've really emphasized locking down the top in-state players.
Yeah, and we haven't talked to him yet. We will after this, but even talking about, having the #1 linebacker essentially in the country with the Butkus Award winner.
Yeah, Christian Jones is going to join us here on set, and was named the high school Butkus Award winner over some very good players around high school football.
Yep.
And he's the #1 prospect in the state of Nebraska and the consensus rankings, and and what he's done, and he's what he's done as a freshman. I mean, he was offered by a lot of Power 5 programs after his freshman year. So for him to handle that pressure and get to this point tonight where he's carrying that Butkus Award winner into our studio, a pretty special run, and it's just starting for him.
All because of good parents. That's why. Coming up, the defense off-ball recruits with special guest in studio, Christian Jones and Caden Vermas. They'll be joining us. But first, let's check in with Ian Vosberg to ask for your help for Nebraska Public Media coming up.
Thanks, Michael. It's member drive time. And we want to thank you for being a loyal viewer and supporter of Big Red Wrap-Up. Your donations makes this and our other programs possible. So this is your reminder to become a member or renew your membership. Call 1-800-989-8236 or go online to nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. And we'll thank you with one of these sports gifts. When you donate $25 a month, that's a one-time donation of $300. We'll thank you with the autographed football by Coach Tom Osborne. Coach Osborne was the Huskers head coach for 25 seasons and led Nebraska to 3 national championships. This is the perfect and necessary addition to your collection, or you can give it as a gift for that Husker fan in your life. Or when you make your donation of $150, that's a $12.50 a month donation. We'll thank you with the Nebraska Public Media vest that I'm wearing. It's soft, mid-weight fleece vest with zippered pockets. It's available in both men's and women's sizes, so it's perfect for everyone, whether you're tailgating or going to a Husker sporting event. Plus, you'll be sharing your support for Nebraska Public Media at the same time. It's great to be here on Big Red Wrap-Up today to learn all about the upcoming seasons, all the recruits coming in, and to see what the future is looking like. And thank you to those of you who have already made your financial support of Nebraska Public Media. We love to hear your comments. You know that this is the home for Nebraska sports, whether it's Husker volleyball, softball, baseball, or any number of high school championships we cover. Your donations are what makes them all possible. We love Nebraska too. That's why we share the games with you. And that's why Big Red Wrap-Up is here each week to take you inside the game. Please follow those who have already put in their share and make your own donation to Nebraska Public Media. Call 800-989-8236 or go online to nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. And because you love the Huskers, you're going to love this thank you gift. It's the Tom Osborne football when you donate $25 a month as a Sustaining Star member. That's $300 with a one-time gift. It's perfect for your Husker collection, and we only have a few of these left. Or you can make your donation of $12.50 a month. That's a one-time donation of $150, and we'll thank you with the Nebraska Public Media vest that I'm wearing. It's available in both men's and women's sizes, and it's perfect to show your support and to stay warm. So go ahead and make your support right now. I'll be back before the end of the show to remind you of those thank you gifts, but now let's send it back for more Big Red Wrap-Up and learn about other future Huskers.
Thanks, Ian. We appreciate it. Let's welcome in now Christian Jones out of Omaha West Side, your high school Butkus Award winner. Christian, thanks for coming, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
When you look at this team and you look at John Bullock and all those guys leaving out of the middle, do you think, based off what you know about this program, that you can play right away?
I certainly think I could play right away, but I had to earn it. I don't think I'm entitled to anything. I don't think I will have an easy way to get there to that starting spot, but if I earn it, I feel like I could have a really good shot.
Where do you think you've kind of fit in with this 3-3-5? You know, your inside guy, a jack guy. What has the talk been with Coach Butler, Coach Wuerl, where you think you're going to step in and how you're going to fit in that 3-3-5 role?
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I'll be big enough to play that jack position, or at least I don't think I'm going to keep growing to be in that perfect ideal height and weight for that. But I believe I'll be in that inside position, that Mike Will position, probably more so what John was playing this year.
Christian, the recruiting process, go through that again. I mean, it had to be stressful. You went on a lot of visits, and how relentless was Nebraska to keep you in state?
Yeah, I would say they had the most effort out of everyone. Every school I've ever, been recruited by, they call me every day or text me every day, and yeah, it was a lot. That's for sure.
Talk a little bit about, because I talked to a lot of former Huskers who grew up in the Omaha area, and the competition between them and the other players in the area. You're looking at their stats. Do you do that? Do you kind of look and go, okay, how'd that guy do that I'm kind of competing against in terms of being the #1 recruit in the state?
Another, like metro area?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say I really get caught up in that, because I feel like when you read up a lot about yourself, you kind of get lost in that. You kind of just not a good way to look at it, because you just got to look above. You're not like down below. You just got to keep getting better.
Got it. Christian, I'm kind of interested. So I grew up in Omaha. I went to Elkhorn, Nebraska kid through and through. Wanted to play Nebraska football a whole lot, but when I was growing up, Nebraska was dominant. They're winning national championships, they're winning conference championships, they're in the top 10 every year. Obviously, with the recency kind of bias, Nebraska's not been in that situation. So when you're looking at Nebraska, and then let's be honest, they've struggled, right?
Yeah.
how'd that weigh? I know they put a ton of effort into there, but
Yeah.
how's that weigh when a program struggled, but you want to stay home, be that hometown kid to kind of turn these things around? How's that their struggles kind of weighed on your decisions?
Yeah.
When you're kind of looking at the whole, outlook of the recruiting process.
Yeah, there's a lot to that because, me growing up, I've never seen a national championship or seen an Orange Bowl or Rose Bowl be won. And so that was kind of why it took so long to see what the best decision was, because I don't like losing. I don't like it at all. So I wanted to go to the best place where I could win and get developed. And then that's why I kind of pulled the trigger right after the Colorado game, is because I saw Coach Rule, he started building that culture up, and I saw them play differently. They had more of a killer mindset. And that's kind of was the selling point, was I saw Coach Rule really bring that out of them, and that's what I was looking for. And if I would say they don't win against that Colorado game, I think definitely be in a different place.
You'll play in 2 All-Star games, the All-American Bowl in San Antonio, and then the Polynesian Bowl in Honolulu. How excited are you for just the opportunity? I mean, going to Hawaii is one thing, but
Yeah.
just to be with 4- and 5-star guys for 2 different settings in All-Star games.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a goal my whole high school career. And I think the best part about it is not, all the cool gear and stuff. I think it's just the elite mindsets. Because, that those people you're going to meet, you're going to know them for the rest of your life, and they're going to be playing in the NFL, or someone's going to be a CEO somewhere. So I think just meeting all those dudes with those elite mindsets, I think that's kind of the best part about it, is not just playing in it, it's just meeting those hardcore dudes.
Christian Jones joining us from Omaha West Side. Let's talk about that trophy. I'm assuming you were on like a finalist list, so you knew you had a chance. Talk about when you found out you'd won.
Yeah, so on Monday, Matt Buckus came to my school in the morning. We had weights in the morning at 8 a.m. And so I see he's a big dude,
Yeah.
walking in. I was like, that guy looks familiar. And he started getting closer. He's got a camera crew. And I see the number 51 for Dick Buckus. I was like, okay, I kind of have a feeling what's going on. And then start talking. He's like, hey, let's go outside. And a little less quiet because we were in the weight room. And I see this pedestal with a blanket over this. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And then, he uncovers it and shows me and gives it to me. And it was a very surreal moment. And just, it's an honor to be named it.
Wow.
What's it like having so many former teammates at Nebraska too? Caleb Benning, Tristan Albano, a guy that frequents up on the stage as well when your coach is Damon Benning, being a former player there. Their kind of influence on helping you making that decision to come to Nebraska.
Yeah, all of them never were like, hey, man, we need you to go here. We need you to do this. Like, all of them were like, hey, I want what is best for you. I had friends like the Rezacs, they would Notre Dame. They're like, hey, we would love you here, but we want you to do what's best for you, and we will support you no matter what.
Yeah.
And all of them were in my corner. They weren't pushing me in one way or the other way. So that's what I'm really grateful for, is they really just were like, hey, man, what's best for you is what we're going to support.
Now, what's next for you? Obviously, since you're in the All-Star games, you're not going to be able to come on the bowl trip because you're going to focus on the All-Star games. But when do you get to Nebraska? Kind of what's the schedule for you to be a Husker now?
Yeah, I mean, we're just going to get right into it. We got winter workouts and just going to attack it and just kind of, get used to that life. It's a job now. So I'm excited to get to work and write all my goals out and go attack them.
I want to go back to what you're talking about, the Colorado game.
Yeah.
Because every player I talked about how exciting that night was. Can you describe what it felt like to be down there on the field and you got the drones and all that stuff?
Yeah, I was kind of just sitting there. I was like, this could be me in the next couple of years. And I just kind of really felt like I want to be a part of that. They win, obviously they win, and there's a lot of pressure in the game, and they really played up to what they needed to play to. I was like, okay, I can do this, let's go.
Yeah, that pick six had to be the loudest moment.
Dude, that was probably the loudest I've ever seen Nebraska. That gave me goosebumps.
That's awesome. Christian, we appreciate it. Congratulations again on the
Thank
award,
you, I appreciate
and good
that.
luck going forward.
Yes, sir.
All right, Christian Jones joining us here. Let's talk about the rest of the folks off the ball. Another backer from Omaha, Millard North's Pierce Mooberry, who ended his career with 153 tackles, 13 and a half TFLs. What's he kind of bring, Sean, a little bit to what he can do in terms of transferring from, first being kind of a safety down into being a linebacker? He was a pretty good wide receiver and tight end as well.
Yeah, real similar to Christian, honestly, because Christian was a great receiver and tight end. But when you look at Mooberry, he reminds me a lot of Sean Fisher when he was at Millard North. Fred Petito in the previous regime always liked his best guy as that single high safety to kind of roam, and then as the coaching change happened, they moved him into the box as a second level linebacker, and just his length, his upside, Pierce is one of the more intriguing prospects in the state, I think, because he's got so much upside to keep growing and developing.
Same side as Luke Gifford come out of high school, too. Let's get to Bryson Weber, defensive backfield. Weber's the sole corner in the class, Missouri City, Texas. Good area, a lot of talent in that area. Talk about him and what he brings to the cornerback position. Doesn't give up catches, I know that.
And it was a challenge to hold on to him because Evan Cooper initially landed him, and then he left the program. And John Butler was able to kind of step in and lock that one up once he took over as the secondary coach. But TCU was the other major player there. You love the length. I mean, when you see 6'2.5" as a corner, that gives you a lot of advantages.
He only gave up one catch over the last 2 years, which is crazy to think about it. Pierre Desir is kind of my comp. He played for the Browns. Very similar type of guy. A lot of length in the arms, too. Last but not least, let's get to Caden Vermas joining us here on the set. Of course, how are you doing? Thanks for coming on and spending some time with us.
I'm doing phenomenal. Appreciate you for having me out here.
Millard North has always been a legendary program, but you had a chance to go through really a changing of the guard. Can you talk about how that was for you guys going from, of course, legendary Fred Petito to what you guys ended up becoming?
It was definitely a lot different, obviously, because you go from the wing bone, right, to like spread offense and everything. We went from a single high, man up on defense every play, kind of like a cover 1, cover 0 type thing, to a kind of more a cover 2, cover 4 look every time. And then we also implemented the 3-3-5 in there. So we had to kind of spend a decent amount of the offseason like helping kids figure out what zones to be in, because none of our kids really knew what to do. The only way we knew that was because like playing Madden. Like that's how only of us usually did it. So that was definitely cool. But yeah, Coach Burrell, he implemented a lot of more explosive workouts, a lot more speed training because he was a track guy. And then he actually wanted me to go out and do track, so I decided to go out and do that. And yeah, we had a few football players go out and do track because previously we never really had a lot of guys do track. And yeah, so that was definitely a lot of fun, and yeah, we got after it. So,
Okay, when I first walked in the studio tonight, I met you first time. I'm like, okay, I knew he was playing safety. I'm like, this is Isaac Gifford right here.
Yeah.
So have you gotten that a lot? Is that kind of where they are projecting you to kind of similar role of how Isaac played within this defense as well?
yeah, so so Coach White before talked about Rover, and then obviously Coach Butler, Coach Rulli all talked about Rover. I told them I could play anywhere they want me to. I said I could even punt return if they need me to, or kick return. But yeah, Rover's definitely the spot they're looking at on defense. They said they're trying to keep me at my same weight and then maybe bulk me up a little bit when I get here just to kind of stay in that area and stay fast because they want me to obviously be able to cover and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's kind of where they see me at because they don't really see me as like deep high safety kind of thing. They want me more in the box to fill runs and stuff like that. So.
Caden, you committed really in the spring of your junior year.
First, right? First one.
And you were the first guy. Yeah, I mean, you committed before Matt Rule even coached a game. I mean, just to stick with this staff that long, I mean, what did you see in Matt Rule and what they were doing to obviously jump on that opportunity immediately in spring of your junior year?
So I had a lot of belief in Coach Rule because the whole staff was NFL guys. And I said, this is the staff that can get you to the NFL. I mean, obviously, you talked about other schools recruiting me. Like, obviously, you have the Iowas, right? And they have Phil Parker, who's got all those guys in the NFL, right? And I said, well, I was like, can I see that? But I was like, I bleed red. I tell everybody that. And I was like, I can't leave here. So I sat down with my parents. I said, I know it'd be early, but I said, this would be a good idea. I said, let's just commit right now. I said, I believe in what they're doing. I said, everything they're telling me. My first interaction was with Coach Rule. I literally hadn't met the guy once. He sat down with me for 20 minutes, talked with my family and I. So that was definitely a cool moment. Meeting the whole staff and everything like that, new recruits, like it definitely felt like it was right. And I was like, even if I'm first or the last commit, I said, honestly, like no matter what, this is where I'll end up playing. So I was like, why not just be the first guy? So, yeah.
Caden Vermas joining us from Millard North. My comp for you, you're a little bit taller, but Jim Leonard, you are a ball hawk. I know you think you can intercept a lot of balls because I've seen you on offense.
Sorry.
What's your feel in terms of the transition? How long you think it'll take to where you can get on the field and play?
Honestly, like I've talked about, I've asked Coach Burrow, I said, what do you think the fastest way on? He said special teams,
Special
right?
teams, yeah.
And so definitely they'll look at that first. And then, I don't know, I'm going to try and get on the field as fast as I possibly can. But that's all up to them at the end of the day. But I'm going to do everything I can. I'll work as hard as I can, try to be the hardest worker in the room, obviously, and just learn everything I can throughout the whole system.
Yeah, Caden, obviously you played both ways in high school. Now just having that mentality about you just got to focus on one side of the ball.
Sure.
How much are you looking forward to just now worrying about that defensive side and really deep diving into the fine intricacies of everything and what offense you're trying to do to you and try to be your best player within that 3-3-5 defense?
It'll definitely be a lot better because obviously it takes your mindset to just focus on just one sort of thing of assignments. Like high school is like, all all right, I got to know, like, obviously I was kick return, so I was like, I got to know kick coverage.
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, defense, I got to know what zone I'm in, blah, blah, blah. And then offense, I could be like, all right, now I got to run an angle route. And it's like, you're all over the place and stuff like that. But you obviously remember over time because you practice it. But just doing defense will be a blessing because I'm like, I can focus on one thing in the offseason because offseason I was kind of focusing on a lot of things, and now I can just solely focus on one thing. And then the biggest thing, I keep it real with everyone, like the cardio will be a lot better because I'm like going both sides. I was like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just hard. Like our Pap South game, I go 99 yards on a touchdown, and then 2 plays later I'm back in on defense, and then we get a stop and I got to go back on punt return. I'm just like, dude, I was like, I'm tired, but yeah, it was cool. But I'm excited and it'll be a lot of fun. So yeah.
Now, what is the move-in day again for the early enrollee for you guys?
Are you talking about when we move in or the bowl
Are
game?
you going to the bowl, right?
Yeah, so bowl game, trying to figure out finals right now at school. So it's either the 18th or 21st. And then the real moving date was like January 11th because we have a team meeting the 12th. So.
But you're going to be a part of the bowl trip. How exciting. Do you guys still go on the trip? Is that the plan?
Yeah, we'll go on the trip. I mentioned this to you guys, but I talked to my parents. I don't know if they'll be able to make it, so I said it'll be like Home Alone too.
There you
we
go.
lost in New York, so that'll be a lot of fun. But yeah.
That hotel's right down right down in Midtown.
be a lot of fun.
So how old do you think you'll have to be when you can start outlifting your dad?
Never.
Depends. If we're squatting, probably right now I can.
Oh, okay.
Because he hasn't squatted in a while because he's obviously getting the old man syndrome where it's a back issue.
And knees,
But,
yeah.
Hey, I'm right here too.
Yeah, yeah.
But there's
On
no
the bench?
His bench, I don't know. He says max ever was like 410.
Whoa.
So I'll have to. But right now I think he's like 3 plates, something like that.
He's lean.
Yeah.
But
so-
he's a power lifter.
Yeah. I'd say probably next fall, hopefully, because honestly I'm gonna try and bulk up a little
You got
bit.
to be able to move still.
Yeah,
You don't want
that's
to
the
get too
plan.
big.
But you always talk about recruiting. They want to see your parents, right? They want to see your dad. His dad walks in like, okay, sign him.
It's always funny too because there's some Twitter comments I see where it's like me and my dad, and then everyone's like, "Does your dad still have a little bit of eligibility left?" I'm like, "Yeah, we'll offer him right now." So yeah.
That's awesome. And the feeling of this class you're in. I know you guys, this 2025 class, really tight already. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we have a group chat, everything we talk all the time. I'm close to every guy in the group. Obviously, I grew up with Pierce, so that was my biggest home run, I feel like, with all the guys that I try to get in the class, especially. Because for the longest time, it was just me, Connor, and Tyson. Then we had CJ Simon, and he decommitted. So it was hard because we were trying to get kids left and right, but the spring evaluation period last year, I think, is when we started to ramp up a little bit. So that was definitely a good feeling when that happened. But yeah, we're all super tight. We're excited to get here too. Like that's the biggest thing. We want to change the culture and bring in like a winning mindset and stuff like that because we want to win those one possession games and stuff like that. Everybody talks about. So that'll be a lot of fun too, and I'm excited to move in with all the boys. So yeah.
Nice. I'm always curious when you have these group chats and you have maybe other guys who are thinking about coming. They let you in to know like, hey, I'm going to commit. I'm silent right now, but don't let the air out of the bag here. What are those conversations like?
So that's actually funny you say that because most of our tweets where I've posted a video of Tyreek Hill doing a flip the other day. That was for Cortez Mills, and then everyone. It's kind of funny. Christian actually said it. He said we have the ability to troll the whole state of Nebraska if we want to with Twitter. So yeah, it's kind of funny, but yeah, we add kids to the group chat and they basically tell us like, hey, let's keep it silent. We're like, all right, cool. And obviously we respect it too because we all went through our processes and stuff like that. So we just kind of are like, all right, let's keep on down low. So yeah.
I have a concern with 2 teenage boys. I'm always worried about their mental health. You mentioned social media.
Yeah.
How do you balance that? Because it's now a part of your NIL or ability to make money. At the same time, people can be a little toxic.
Yeah, I mean, that's like I've always told people, you're gonna hear everything. Like especially if you're somewhat successful, like I'd say, like most of the athletes are, obviously you're gonna hear stuff, but the only thing you can do is just put it aside and say, you know what, I know who I am. And then you can just move forward day by day, work as hard as you do.
No doubt. Hey, Caden, we appreciate it. Enjoy the trip to New York City. Don't get left behind.
Got you.
And good luck going forward.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Caden Verbaas joins. We appreciate that. All right, when we come back, we're going to chat more about Boston College and the Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. But I'll check back in with Ian.
Hi again. Teams are only possible because of the support of their fans. We know because fans of Nebraska Public Media have been supporting us and making programs like Big Red Wrap Up possible for decades. Call now and show your support. Call 800-989-8236 or go online to nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate. When you make a donation of $25 a month, that's a one-time donation of $300, we'll thank you with the autographed football signed by Coach Tom Osborne. Coach Osborne's a household name, and he was coach of the Huskers for 25 years. This is an absolute necessity for your Husker collection. Or when you make a donation of $150, that's $12.50 a month, we'll send you the Nebraska Public Media vest that I've been wearing. It's perfect for tailgating or wearing to any Husker sporting event. Plus, you'll be sharing your support for Nebraska Public Media at the same time. It's a soft mid-weight fleece vest with zippered pockets, and it's available in both men's and women's sizes. When you make your donation to Nebraska Public Media, you're supporting more than 200 hours of collegiate and high school sports programming every single year on Nebraska Public Media. That support allows Nebraska Public Media to broadcast Nebraska high school state championships, including basketball, wrestling, volleyball, baseball, and softball. You help broadcast Husker volleyball, baseball, and women's basketball, Creighton volleyball, soccer, and baseball. No matter how much you decide to donate, I invite you to make it a monthly gift. Visit our website at nebraskapublicmedia.org/donate or give us a call at 800-989-8236 and tell us you want to become a sustaining star member. From then on, your donation is automatic. Monthly donations mean we can count on you as we produce upcoming programs for Nebraska Public Media, just like Big Red Wrap-Up. When you donate $25 a month as a sustaining star member, we would love to thank you with the autographed football by Coach Tom Osborne. We only have a few of these left, so go ahead and make that donation so that you can have one in your Husker collection. When you make your donation of $12.50 a month as a sustaining star member, that's a $150 one-time gift, we'll thank you with a Nebraska Public Media vest. It's soft mid-weight and it's fleece, and it's available in both men's and women's sizes. You'll also be showing your support for Nebraska Public Media no matter where you wear it. To those of you who have already donated and become members, thank you. And to everyone else watching tonight, thank you for your support of Nebraska Public Media.
Thanks, Ian. Want to get one of those sweet vests. That's what I need to get. Welcome back to the wrap-up. Let's talk a little bit more recruiting as we pass out of that to Big Ten recruiting. Coaches, Oregon, number 3, Ohio State, 4. 15th was Penn State, Michigan 16th, Wisconsin 22nd, and Nebraska 24th. That's according to On3. You'll see different recruiting rankings all over the place. In the college football playoff rankings, Oregon is still number 1 in the CFP rankings. Penn State dropped to number 4. Ohio State moves to number 6. And the Hoosiers moved up to number 8, with Illinois in the rankings at number 20. How did you feel the bracket looked? What did you think about it? SMU getting in there, Alabama not getting in there. What did you think of the bracket?
Yeah, I think Alabama, that was a tough one. It was up to SMU and Alabama. I think I had to lean with SMU. I get the strength of schedule perspective.
You can't get dominated by Oklahoma like that.
Or
They're
Vanderbilt.
6-6.
No,
At least Vanderbilt was playing well then. Oklahoma wasn't playing well.
My biggest argument, too, is like, hey, if SEC, you want to have the gripe,
Yeah.
why don't you go to 9 conference games, too?
Yep.
So you got to have that aspect. So I'm okay with SMU there. It's, you take the Boise over a Clemson, right, in that scenario. But I tell you what, I can't wait to watch it. I mean,
Yeah.
the Indiana going to Notre Dame, staying technically in state and just seeing how it all plays out at their home stadiums. And you could get weather at Penn State, weather at Notre Dame, weather at Ohio State. It's going to be fantastic TV here in a couple weeks.
This is probably the last time it's like this, though, right, Sean? Because if you look at what happens, Oregon's got to get the win out of Tennessee and Ohio State, which is a much tougher run than, say, a Penn State if they can knock off SMU at home and then get Boise.
Yeah, when you have the at-large bid teams, those could be your 3, 4, 5, 6 best teams.
Yep.
And I think in theory it sounded good to give the conference champions these buys.
Right.
But that was when the Big 12 had Oklahoma and Texas.
Right.
College football looked a lot different when this puzzle was created. Now all the power and the money and the high-ranking recruits are in 2 major conferences. You can say what you want, but the Big 12 and the ACC, for the most part, recruit nowhere near the level of those 2 leagues.
Exactly.
And they have nowhere near the draft prospects. Now there's a couple ACC teams like Clemson, Florida State, and Miami, but other than that, in Notre Dame's it's on its own. I do think the SEC and the Big Ten have an argument because they do play better competition week over week.
Yeah, I kind of like Arizona State. I love Kenny Dunningham. Forks up. This week around the Big Ten, there are 2 teams hosting first-round college football games. 12 teams made the postseason, 4 in the college football playoff, and 8 bowl bids For the season, the Big Ten finished with a winning percentage of 77.7% of their non-conference games. Let's take a look back at the sideline survey early results. How do you see the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl turning out? 69% of the people say close Husker win. 21% say, as Sean does, a close Boston College win, and a little bit of numbers.
Don't give away the picks.
And they'll see it later. So let's talk about this game and the way it lines up a little bit, because again, I like the backup quarterback who's in there for Boston College. I think they can really run the game. But I'll tell you this, Sean said it a second ago, ACC is not the same level of competition as the Big Ten. And if you look at these bowls, a lot of times when it's ACC versus Big Ten wins these games.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. And again, I think the biggest thing you come to these type of games is who wants to be here, who's appreciative of being here.
Oh, yeah, motivation.
Yes, motivation is the biggest thing. Who's going to attack these 13 to 14 practices, whatever they get, or who's going to get through them? Who's just going to kind of try to get through them because they have to, right? Who has the better attitudes? How many guys go through the portal? Obviously, that's a big thing. How many guys get injured in the 2 weeks leading up to this? But BC is a heck of a football team. Bill O'Brien's a hell of a football coach. Respect the heck out of him. But I tell you what, it's going to be a classic, I believe, a low-scoring game. Weather obviously has a ton of factors in this game, but I like Nebraska's defense against Boston College's offense in this game. I think that's where it's going to come down. Even with Nebraska losing some key guys on the defensive side of the ball, I think there's still enough there in this game that Nebraska can do some damage.
Since Grayson James took over, they're 3-1. The last 3 games, they've averaged 34 points, 227 yards passing, 4 TDs, just 1 interception, and an impressive 46.5 rushes a game.
Yeah, they run it, and they're physical in what they do, but they're efficient in the passing game. They have 24 touchdowns to just 7 interceptions through the air. I mean, they're a Bill O'Brien run offense. Bill O'Brien knows how to put together efficient offensive units. You brought up that ACC point, though. I want to go back to that. The Big Ten is 8-1 in this bowl.
Yes.
The Big Ten has won, I believe, the last 7 in a row. Duke beat years ago Indiana, and that's the only ACC win in this game. The Big Ten has dominated Pinstripe Bowls in its history. So there are a lot of things that favor Nebraska, but there is no history with these two teams. They've never played in the history of the program.
I can tell you there were a lot of Husker fans that wanted Bill O'Brien. When that coaching search was happening, you heard them say, oh, Bill O'Brien would be great. We'd like him. Former NFL coach. We know he did those 2 years at Penn State under really tough situations. As Matt Rule said today, he kind of, was that yesterday, saved the program a little bit at Penn State coming in and did what he did. What do you think about Bill O'Brien?
Again, I respect him. I was one of those guys that said if Nebraska would go and hire Bill O'Brien, I was all for it. Obviously, what he did with what Penn State was dealing with at the time.
Oh, yeah.
With the loss of scholarships and it was almost a death penalty essentially what they were dealing with for those years, and he was successful. Develops guys, a great offensive mind. They had tight ends coming out of those couple of years that are now playing in the NFL. So his mindset, been with the Patriots, he's been with Alabama. So a well-respected coach within NFL and college, and he's going to take Boston College to some uncharted territory, I think, with that football program.
So let's talk a little portal. What do you think Nebraska, obviously long snapper, but what else do you see them targeting, and wide receiver? What do you see them targeting?
Yeah, wide receiver and linebacker are the 2 early priority positions we've seen Nebraska go after. Dane Key is a receiver at Kentucky, and Dykeel Shorts coached him. I expect him to visit campus probably this week. They have not hosted a portal visitor yet. That will begin Wednesday. So starting Wednesday, I think you're going to see a flood of portal prospects make their way to campus. Dana Holgorsen hinted that it could be anywhere from 20 to 30. Now, they're not going to take all 20 or 30, but Matt Rule is throwing out the number. They'd like about 15.
Right.
Maybe 7 offense, 7 defense, and a specialist. They might even look for a kicker. I mean, I think there's some quiet discussion.
Kicker or punter? They definitely did punter.
Both, possibly.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if do you have enough on Camden Cook to know that you can go forward? I think you can also get a punter later, too, in the spring. If you really had to find one, the right one would probably be out there.
It's always good to bring in competition. Let's look at the list of the portals leaving Nebraska, because we kind of talk about a little bit when you look at the list. How much is it trying to match up these positions in the portal?
Well, I think the quarterback one is interesting. Will they be able to find somebody else? I mean, there's a Jalen Gramstad, too. Will he come back for a 6th year? They need to get depth at that position, especially if Harburg's not there. But defensive line is the real hit spot where they've taken the most lumps. Williams Nawarni, though, now going in the portal. That should get your attention. He played for Mosey at Lee Summit North High School, former 5-star. Didn't redshirted this year at Missouri. Played only 50 snaps on the year in 4 games. That's a big priority portal name to watch.
The good news is Nebraska rotates so many defensive linemen.
do.
The problem is the majority of those guys are leaving.
Yeah, James Williams, Kai Wallen, Keona Davis, Prince Well.
Maybe we get Keona Davis to come back.
Maybe.
Speak into existence.
I love that. These guys, I look at this, you do lose some key pieces, you do play a lot, but these aren't, in my opinion, these aren't absolute game changers. These aren't guys that come in and they're not irreplaceable, in my opinion. I think you can go out there and find guys that are same, if not better than those guys that step up and play. Listen, I don't want to lose players, but this is the business we're in. You got to go replace them. But Nebraska playing a ton, but they're going to find some guys now. It's an opportunity for these young players to step up here and play in developing these next 2 weeks and go prove yourself. And you can definitely do that through these bowl practices and bowl prep.
Jim on X wants to know about Nebraska having 2 linebacker coaches, an outside, inside. Do you think maybe that means they'll play more 4 linebackers?
Well, it's 2 vastly different positions. So like I played
it's edge.
So I played in a 3-4 in the NFL.
Right.
And Mike Singletary was inside guy. We had Patrick Willis, who was in my draft class. And then we had Jason Tarver, who was our outside guy. He was a well-respected mind. He was defensive coordinator at Stanford for a while with Harbaugh as well. So you have to. It's completely. It's that edge spot that they call it the jack. Yeah. You're a stand-up defensive end essentially.
They had an outside linebackers coach too. It just wasn't as. I mean, they had a full-time guy. He followed Tony White to Florida State.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it's just vastly different. So you have to have 2, because it's not apples to apples. It's
Now
definitely apples to oranges.
Is going to be coaching the edge.
Simpson will take over for Jack Potenza.
Yeah. Let's talk about the secondary though. The question is also, do you think they'll hire a cornerback coach if Butler's going to stay with the safeties, or do you think maybe somebody else helps out there?
Yeah, that's a great question because if you play a 3-3-5, that's 5 of your guys on the 11 starting positions. So you need ideally 2 people back there, and will Phil Snow, will John Butler. I think with the rules now, you can be pretty creative in adding bodies. Nebraska lost 2 coaches essentially this week, and they're going to have 3 more added in that they added in today. So I think you can be really creative, and that number of 10 that used to be limited at, you could easily get away with way more than that now, with close to 20 guys if you wanted to have a position coach and an assistant position coach like it would be in the NFL.
Terry Braden coming in from Kansas City. Your thoughts on bringing a guy in that has that background in the NFL for those young players?
Yeah, guys love it. John Blake was my defensive line coach here at Nebraska.
That's right, baby.
Yeah, right. And he had the gift of gab. He could sell a ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves. And he spent all the time with the Cowboys with Switzer. Yeah. Obviously, he played for Switzer at Oklahoma in those days. So having that, it's like, hey, when I had Charles Haley and Leonard Lett, Leon Lett and these guys, guys want to hear that. Guys want to hear how, man, I can see you doing this on Sundays. I can see you doing this in the NFL playoffs. So recruits and college players, because that's the ultimate goal. Even though you're getting money now, the ultimate goal is to get that first NFL contract and be drafted. So guys love that. That's a huge recruiting thing, but it's also a good motivator for young players.
Sean Bob on X wants to know, has there ever been a high school Butkus Award winner in Nebraska before? Do you know?
No, not that I know
First
of.
one?
I mean, the guys that Christian beat out, they were 5-star players. So, it's a really, really prestigious award that Christian walked in here with tonight. I think even his own school, they were, when he walked into Westside High School, that was a shock to everyone on Monday that he brought the Butkus, Dick Butkus' son, brings the Butkus trophy into Westside High School. That's
pretty cool.
That's a pretty surreal moment, and one I'm sure Christian's never going to forget.
We've talked about a lot of different positions, but special teams essentially probably cost them the Iowa game. Special teams may have cost other games as well. You still got to fix that, though.
Yeah, 100%. And in the Big Ten, where teams are, and it just seems like in all conferences now, the bottom and the top are coming closer together. It means it's going to be closer games, better competition. And those single score loss games that Nebraska we've got so familiar with is because of special teams, missed field goals, dropped punts, really a non-existent return game, period, whether it's a punt return or kick return. Nebraska has to flip that. You have to get explosive guys who can go kick the ball or catch the ball and make one guy miss. That's all you got to do and get vertical. You got to have a snap. Yeah. What's the most important play in football is the snap, whether on special teams or offense. You got to have guys that can do that, so you can go get that. And I think Hull's the guy, and he did have Ivano too if he deals with his injury. But Hull got some confidence. But you got to find your guys in there to get this going, because you're going to have more close games in the future, and special teams makes all the world of difference.
Speaking of special teams, Boston College is last in the ACC in punting. By the way, they're also first in penalty yards. They have the least amount of penalty yards of anybody in the ACC.
All right, it's a big Ed Foley game. He's
is.
got the ball. His brother was the quarterback for Boston College.
yeah.
I mean, they've got to be aggressive. I think especially with some of the depth questions that Nebraska has on defense. An X factor in this game is special teams. Can Nebraska create a play? They have been so close to outright blocking a punt this year. Carter Nelson's probably almost blocked 5 punts. When Malachi Coleman was here, he almost blocked one against Rutgers. Can they get one of those punts? Can they do something in that area of the game?
Yeah, and you get all this time too. Look for a lot of fake punts.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of double reverses on kickoff returns. You get all sorts of different stuff you can throw in there to mix it up, because you got all these extra practices and you got to find something else to do besides bang your head against the wall with some of your young development players, even though they need it, trust me. But you can find some unique scenarios with the special teams.
Oh, sure, you got Harburg there.
Yep.
You meant double
Yes.
pass, or
Yep.
stuff like that as well. So that's certainly something you can see with all. Whenever coaches have time, especially offensive coaches, they're going to come up with some crazy stuff and try to get to that. Let's go to burning questions. What do you got, Sean?
Burning question for me is, what will portal month look like for Nebraska? These next 2 weeks really will kind of define the roster. And one other note, we'll learn the schedule
Yes.
tomorrow. So at 1 o'clock on Wednesday, we'll get a better roadmap of what Nebraska's Big Ten schedule is going to look like for 2025.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what the motivation is for both teams heading into this game. I think I've hit on it numerous times, but who wants to be there? Who attacked these practices? Who wanted to get better? Who's appreciative? Who wants to go see New York and just and be involved? I think both teams are going to be there. That's why I think it's going to be such a good game at 11 a.m. on December 28th. So I'm just excited to see those two things play out and see how that cookie crumbles.
Sean stole my burning question, because the third most important day in the Big Ten, behind the Big Ten championship game, Ohio State, Michigan, the game, is now when they put the schedule out. Will you have more of the bottom teams in the conference or more of the top teams? Can you avoid the top 4 or 5, like in Indiana did, only playing one of them? It's an important day for Nebraska and for the rest of the Big Ten tomorrow. Don't forget to head over to the website, Facebook page, and X account, and click on the prediction. Jay, Sean, and I will tell you exactly what to expect in the Boston College game. The Huskers' final game will be Saturday, December 28th on ABC in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl against Boston College. On Tuesday night, January 7th, we'll have a special bowl game recap, Big Red wrap-up. We'll take a look at the transfer portal, and the show overall will be, of course, live on World, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live at 7 p.m. on Tuesday. You can always catch the re-air at 10 p.m. on Nebraska Public Media. And this Sunday, you can watch the 24th-ranked Nebraska women's hoops team at noon against Chattanooga on the Nebraska Public Media. And then Tuesday at 6 p.m., Wyoming is visiting Creighton, also live on Nebraska Public Media. And don't forget to check out Nebraska High School Classics anytime on youtube.com/Nebraska Public Media. Our thanks to Caden Vermas and Christian Jones and their parents for bringing them here as well and being on with us. For Jay Moore and Sean Callahan, I'm Michael Severe. We'll see you next year on Big Red Wrap-Up.
I forgot we had a January 7th and a February.